What's up, guys? This is THCB. Over on Test Your Might, Rio has been doing a series of videos detailing how to deal with certain characters. He's already done Cabal and Melina. There was a request for Reptile, and instead of him doing it, I kind of decided to take up on it on my own. But what we're going to be doing is going over how you can deal with Reptile. Basically, we're going to go over his pressure, his footsies, and his zoning game. First off, let's go over his pressure or rather, we're going to go into like a little bit of his more important normals. Both his jabs, 1 and 2, they're both 11 frames. Both are neutral on hit, neutral on block. One recovers pretty fast, and it has string follow-ups such as 1-2-2-1, 1-2 back 1, and 1-2-4. 1-2-2-1 hits. It has special properties in that it hits overhead on both of the last 2 hits, and it does launch. So he can end with the slide, or if you get fancy enough, he can do pretty much you can pretty much do the Chris G combo by taking a slight step forward. You probably get the picture if you've seen the combo, but it leads to a combo if he has meter. He has obviously that 1-2 back 1 hits low on the 3rd hit, so it creates sort of a high-low mix-up between the string itself. It's not too great because it doesn't really lead to anything, whether it's blocked or hit. You can set up frame shenanigans, but they're just frame shenanigans in the ball. Letting go of block so he can just dash you, pretty much. 1-2-4, it doesn't really have much of a pressure use, but it does set up different scenarios, because on block there's a slight pushback. The string is neutral entirely on hit. It is neutral on block, I mean, but he can cancel into any specials, so he can cancel in like force ball or go into a dash, kind of to keep you in check. And 1-2-4 dash does jail, so it is sort of a checking tool, and he can do EX dash, whatever. But that's generally what he can do off of 1. 2, as you can see, 2 has a very large pushback. He can do 2 forward 3, and if the forward 3 hits, he can do 1+2, and it will lead into a splat that lets him set up wake up option, his wake up offense.
2 said forward 3 is a -3. So his pressure ends right then and there. He can set up scenarios if you try to go in, but they're generally not that great, and are basically shenanigans involving dash, obviously. But that's basically that string. 2 is very good because it has very large hitbox. Actually, the hitbox is pretty nice. His hurtbox is pulled back quite a bit. Wherever the arm is where his hitbox actually is, and it can be linked into specials. They do actually connect. His force balls do actually connect. Another thing is that his 2 into invisibility is actually a safe jump. The reason being is that the cancel advantage changes upon him actually hitting you.
So if he does 2 invisibility, he gets a safe jump. It's not entirely useful. It does work if you want to play it a lot safer than 2 force ball to counter poke, but it generally doesn't really lead to too much. But it can help somewhat in the long run. So it's something to be aware of. His 3 is 13 frames. He has 3-2-1 as an option, and 3-2 back 4 for an option. 3-2-1 is his go-to pressure string, mainly because every hit is 0 on block. It also hits completely mid, so you absolutely, unless you are quite far back, it will always hit his true mid throughout the entire way. What's great about it is that it leads to his most damaging combo options. If I can get him down. I've been having a little bit of trouble. But you'll probably get the picture if you've seen it before. 3-2-1 neutral jump punch. Let's take this off. It's not coming out for whatever reason, but as you can see, it leads to his some of his high damaging combos. And because it is neutral on block, there's a mix-up as far as when he's gonna stop, when he's gonna keep going, and also because he can link into his specials, he can cancel into specials. If he chooses to, he can in his string an overhead, or into acid hand rather. And he is completely safe. He is at -4. With pushback, he gains roughly around close to half a bar. So for him, it's good for meter building. You generally want to make sure he doesn't get this because meter in this game is pretty big. But generally, he has a lot of safe options from it. He can do overhead, obviously, or slide if he catches you not fuzzy guarding, or he can just do 3-2-1 and go for throw. The mix-ups go on and on.
A way to actually ease up the entire mix-up is whenever you see whenever you see 3-2, just let go of block. And let the one hit you. You take 5% damage, but if he does as a hand, as a committed option, it will leave him with less time to actually do Oki follow-ups than if he were to just do 3-2-1 naked. It forces the Reptile player to commit to a block string instead of rather a full combo hit, like so. And so it can kind of ease up the pressure. But if the Reptile player becomes aware that you are doing this, he can just go straight into dash and lead to a combo, or he can just slide if he wants to keep the overhead low mix-up going. Not much damage, obviously, but it's something to be aware of when he is using the string, what he can do if you choose to commit to taking the one. But it's not too big of a deal, but it's just something you want to look out for. While the string is neutral on block, one of Reptile's major problems is his generic lows aren't very fast. His down 3 is as fast as his generic low at 8 frames, which is very, very slow.
and his down 1 is 9 frames, which is pretty much even slower, practically useless. His down 4 is normal speed. It's 12 frames, a lot of range, and he can cancel an acid hand, obviously, and make it a lot to add it onto the pushback. As you can see, if he spaces it out right, he obviously can push you back pretty far, and it sets up different traps. If you let go of block, and as you're trying to come in, he can smack you with a dash, or he can EX dash to make it a little bit safer, but not entirely safe. Or he can go into invisibility, do a force ball.
His generic lows. As I said, the problem with 3-2-1 being neutral and his generic lows being so slow is that basically, if you have a 6 or 7 frame generic normal or jab or whatever attack, basically, if you know he's going to attack or going to stagger strings, you can just do a down 1, and in most cases it will beat out the 3-2-1. In some instances, the 3 will go over down 3s, so you have to be careful there. But down 1 is pretty much stop any sort of pressure completely, and that's pretty much how it affects him offensively, having such sluggish generic lows. But that's pretty much his pressure in a nutshell. Footsies wise, he has down 1 and down 4 in the acid hand. Very safe on block. Down 4 in general, you can do a lot of stuff. If you get the spacing down right. He has 4-2 into acid hand. Or he can 4-2 back 1. His 4-2 and has a gap where it can be armored out, or you can just armor out of it, obviously. But 4-2 back 1 does not have such a gap. So if you catch them trying to armor through, you can actually punish. You can sort of punish them for it. Doesn't really lead to anything, but it is negative. It is -10, like 1-2-2-1. It is -10, so you have to be careful versus certain characters. But it's an option. Be aware of it. But that's good for Footsies. His dash allows him to cover a lot of distance in a short amount of time. So pretty much he can sort of play Footsies from like a lot further out than most characters can. Give it about maybe two jump spaces, basically. 2 jumps or 1 jump and a backdash, and it's pretty much perfect distance for dash with. You have to be aware of this distance. Dash is a 6 frame special. It knocks down a hit 11%. Very punishable on block, but because it comes out so fast, it can generally stuff out a lot of normals that will come out. Very good as a whip punisher. But that's basically the gist of Reptile's Footsies game. He also has back 4 if you try to do down 3s or down 4s. He'll just hop right over him and knock you down with sweep, push you back a little bit. When perfectly spaced, let me get it right. But
when pretty much he gets a free dash in. Um, if you have a generic rule, if you have something that's fast enough to actually hit him in between that, you'll knock him out of it, obviously. But generally, that's all his Footsies tools. It's not too amazing. He does have three lifts his makes his lower body hitbox actually shrink back a little bit. Two, obviously, big hand of doom. But that's pretty much as far as you're gonna go as far as his footsies. His normals aren't too fast, so you don't have to entirely worry about always getting hit out of it because you press the button too slow. Most characters will actually outspeed him generally. But that's how you kind of deal with his footsies game. When you stand within his dash range, you really do limit his ability to approach you pretty fast because his forward dash and his backwards dash isn't exactly fast. His walk speed is okay, but the startup on the walk is pretty slow. So you kind of limit his options and forces him. If you stand at the right spot, you pretty much stand at a range where he can't exactly do anything other than maybe spit or force ball. And force ball is slow enough to jump on kind of reaction. Spit is a little faster and you can't entirely do it. He does have options at those particular ranges.
Can be poked out of, armored out of, whatever. If you have something faster than 9 frames, you generally will be able to actually hit him out of it. But if you have armor, it just doesn't matter. You'll just destroy him on it. You can jump out of it. It works, but you have to be pretty quick about it. You have to react entirely well. But if you catch yourself blocking the entire thing, he is +5, so down 3 and down 1 are pretty much uninterruptible. He can do another dash to kind of check you completely, or make it very hard to armor out of. But generally, the advantage doesn't do entirely too much. It makes his it does give him a lot of advantage. But that's basically its EX dash. You just have to learn to interrupt it if you see it coming. Pretty much if you stand in his dash. He also has EX spit. It will push you out slightly. It's +3 on block. On hit it is -6, so you can act before. But generally the point of it is to push you back just a little bit so that he can whiff dash, or create a little bit of space so he can safely start throwing force balls. Both his EX force balls can be charged up, as you can see there. They're both, if done point blank, +2 on block. So you pretty much can't. He can check you with dash if you do not jump. Also, EX dash. If he commits to dash to check you, you can actually jump out of it. Or you can do like a neutral jump, and he pretty much goes under your dashes, or if he tries to jump over you, you pretty much catch him with the neutral jump punch. But that's basically it on that. EX low force ball travels really slow, and obviously he can charge it up, and he can follow it obviously, and use it as a shield of sorts to
prevent you from trying to counterattack safely. He can basically just like follow it and do that just to make it so that his double dash is safe on block, basically. EX Force Ball from this range, it comes out really fast, so both of them start up in 18 frames, so it's kind of really difficult to react to. And if you try to jump into it, he can charge it, and pretty much you jump right into it, which leads to a combo, and you don't want that. He can do regular force balls. They start up in 29 frames. So they're really slow, but as Tom Brady put it, they're flowing landmines. So you have to be on watch about these. He can do footsies,
sort of to like hit out people who are trying to do normal, come in and do normals. He'll do that and pretty much get a free combo. So it's something to kind of be aware of if the Reptile player is pretty much on point with his spacing. He will throw out force balls like pretty much close to your face. They are negative 11 on block, so quite a few jabs will actually beat it out. Fast jabs work really well, but there are some characters who don't have fast jabs at all. He can kind of abuse this as a safe meter gaining tool and a check to make sure you keep blocking after his strings. So for those characters who don't have 11 frame normals or faster, you kind of want to be careful here. There's no real reward for actually punishing them in those cases, because generally you'll be stuck to down 3 or down 1 or using down 4 as a check. But it's just just be aware of that. He can also do regular spit. That is negative 11 on block also. It comes out kind of fast, travels the screen pretty fast, not too fast. The hitbox hits kind of high. It's kind of deceptive. It's not a big hitbox, but because it is so high up, it generally works as an anti-air sort of. So he can use that. He has slide. It's very unsafe, but it'll get you to start blocking low, and much on its own. He can start asset handing. It's really slow, and you won't really see many Reptile players just do a naked asset hand unless it's by accident. But it does have quite a bit of reach. And it does do 11% on hit and knocks him down. It sets up pretty much his Oki game very well. So it's something still to be aware of. He'll do it to make a lot of his strings safe, or to create just a little bit of spacing. Pretty much he can do like acid hand, and if you try to move dash, or acid hand walk back, acid hand jump back. And it's a really good Footsies tool. Has a lot of really great setups for it. Just in general, just generally be aware that if you're too far out, basically don't try and come in and attack him. He will do acid hand, and the Reptile catches on. He will start dashing you and knocking you down, and you have to deal with this wake up game. But generally his zoning, he's not gonna entirely be zoning, to just keep you away. What he's really gonna be doing is getting trades, setting up opportunities to put force balls on screen,
so that when you do throw out a projectile, he'll actually try and do like maybe a fast one to trade,
or he'll do a slow one.
slow one does 5%, fast one does 8, spit does 8. But generally, it's sort of like he's playing a counter zoning game. There are some any projectile option that actually lose to force ball. Saying like Molina's roll, it can go under, but it can be sketchy. Striker can't roll under it. Period. Just general, it puts basically a floating combo on the screen. And if he trades, he can do that and then dash in and get a full combo off of it. You basically get the gist of it, but that's basically what he can do off of with force balls. He's basically going to be trying to set up opportunities to get him on screen, either to set up a combo opportunity for himself in a trade, or just to get himself in to build meter off of block strings and whatnot. Or to just set up an opportunity to actually, like spit, and if it trades, he'll dash in, and in a lot of cases, he can jump over the projectile in time and land a full combo on you. So it's something to be very careful of when it comes to zoning Reptile. As far as his ability to deal with any zone. There are some instances where he can actually, if you try to come in on him, he can just charge up the force ball. It works really well against dive kicks, against Molina's size, obviously. But generally, when you're zoning Reptile, you kind of want to be at a particular range where you can pretty much react to his stuff. From full screen, only a few characters actually do beat him out pretty badly, but in general, he's going to be able to eventually get in if you try and play him from full screen, and it can hurt if he actually does get in. But generally, to play Reptile, you want to play Footsies with him. You do have to be aware of dash, but it is -15. Most jabs will punish it. It'll take a little bit of getting used to, but just get used to it. But generally, that's all he really has to offer. If you see a Reptile with full bar, be careful throwing projectiles, because that has projectile invincibility up until he starts grabbing you. So he can shoot right through your projectile and pretty much take no damage for it. It does have armor on it as well, and on the knockdown, it does set up a reset option. But that's basically, this is basically what you do to deal with Reptile. Whenever you can, try and pressure him, and know that you can. If you make him commit to dash and you block it, you pretty much. If you're a character like, say, Kung Lao or Sonya, you pretty much get a pretty good chunk of his life off of it, just for him trying to get 11% and stop you from attacking him. But because his generic normals are very slow, basically him being you being at -1 versus him is him being at -1. You are basically at +1. If you have a 6 rank normal, you're basically, or rather, if you have a plus rank normal or a 6 rank normal, being at neutral basically puts him at -2. You get the gist of it. Basically, he's very, very slow, and he has to rely on unsafe methods to deal with pressure. He becomes a guess when it comes to pressuring him. But that's basically it about Reptile. He's not too difficult to take care of. Some characters with bad matchups versus him, but if you understand like the basics of his stuff, you can definitely limit his options. He does
The ability to play through any situation, basically, but he's not without his problems and downfalls and whatnot. So that's basically it on this video. I hope it can help you if you are struggling against Reptile players, or you're looking to understand Reptile better as the main of the character. This is THB signing out. I will see you guys all at MLG.